we're very privileged to have here someone who has been a veteran in this battle. We don't believe our fears are unfounded because we know how hate crimes have been implemented in other countries, how they're enforced, and the people that are on the receiving end of the prosecution are largely Christians. And we don't believe that that's a hyperbolic statement at all. It is the case, and there's no one that can make that case more convincingly than Paul Diamond. He is here representing the Christian Legal Center, and he's come all the way from Cambridge, England, and we've asked him to tell the story of what has happened in Great Britain as a result of the implementation of hate crime laws and how it has affected liberty, especially free speech.
Thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to be in Cambridge, to be in the United States. It's an honor and my pleasure to be here. I just want to say I'm a practicing barrister, independent practice, and I have the honor of being the standing counsel. Speak up, I have the honor of being the standing counsel to the Christian Legal Center, which is one of our religious rights organizations for Christian freedoms, and I therefore have a lot of experience in this area. And what I want to say is I have seen the future, and it does not work. And liberal toleration is granted to tolerant liberals only. There has been a frightening change in the United Kingdom, and our freedoms are very much inhibited in the last few years as Judeo-Christian values are driven from the public square. Now, some of you may say that can't happen here. Our laws are very different from yours. You're Europeans, you're weak, you're not as tough as us Americans. Funny that is, because we used to say that about ourselves 10 years ago. I was brought up in a country that had religious freedom and freedom of speech for millennia, and many of that has changed. Some of my cases, one of my early cases, was a man called Hammond. Mr. Hammond was a preacher. He went into the public square in Bournemouth, a small town on the south coast of England. He's unrolled the banner saying, "Stop homosexuality, stop immorality, turn to Jesus." He was attacked in broad daylight in a British town by heterosexual and homosexual individuals. About a large number of them. The police arriving, seen an elderly citizen, 69 years old, on the ground with a large number of young people on top of him, assaulting him, did what only the British police could do under this type of legislation: arrest Mr. Hammond for inciting his own assault. And of course he was promptly prosecuted and convicted. Impossible? No, we have cases in Britain all the time. An elderly couple near Liverpool wrote to their local authority. They said, "We don't like the promotion of homosexuality under your diversity policy." Police visited them, threatened them with 7 years in prison. Another couple's under investigation for complaining about abuse they received from people in favour of the same-sex gender. It's even got worse. We have people on trial in Britain, in Liverpool at the moment, for questioning, under our similar laws to what you have here, questioning the status of Muhammad as the final prophet. That was deemed to be a public order offence. Of course, the facts in these have to be resolved, and the trials are ongoing. But a judge has held in an employment case that Christianity is discriminatory. It discriminates against homosexuals. Therefore, every employer in Britain is justified in not employing the Christians because he is entitled to have a non-discriminatory workforce, and so forth and so on. And I have many cases like this. One of the problems we have in Britain is not just the cases, it's what you Americans call the chilling effect. We had a case in Sweden, which I was an international trial observer at, of a guy called Pastor Aki Green. He was acquitted from his sermon in which he upheld biblical moralities on sexual matters. But he had 4 or 5 years in the Swedish courts. He was threatened with long terms of imprisonment. And of course, people are scared to exercise their rights if they know the police will come forward. It's very difficult to explain why this is happening. And my view is, these are political laws. And when you have political laws, the agenda is different. Whether it's framed in your recent hate crimes bill, whether it's going to be a speech code on a university campus, whether it's going to be private employers introducing diversity codes and non-discrimination policies, there is a concerted attempt to drive Judeo-Christian values from the public forum. So we say to the Americans, we've been there, we have actually lessons to tell you, and this is a road you don't want to go down. And if you go give tools to the state will use those tools against you. Now I'm going to sign off now with a conclusion and a plea. You probably don't realise this, that many of us in Europe love the United States and like the United States, and you are the leader of the free world. We expect the Americans to be the leader of the free world, and being leader of the free world has responsibilities. And so I call on the American people to uphold their traditional role of the Western world in promoting liberties and freedoms, and not following measures which have brought so much misfortune on a country of a lot of understanding with England. Thank you.